Hello there, English minors! I'm your teacher of English, Miss Jem, and welcome to another fun and exciting day today as we start to dig our English gems. The gems of English. Discovering new words, learning grammar rules, let's dig our precious gems together with our friends, Google and Webster. Reading, writing, speaking, listening. Come, let's discover the gems of English. The gem that we are going to discover is phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are one of the most difficult things to learn in the English language because it's completely arbitrary and random. But today, we are going to learn its components. Let's start first by looking up its definition. I have here my friend Webster to tell us what phrasal verbs are. Hi, Webster!
Hi, Miss Jem!
Well, Webster, we have a question for you. May we ask what phrasal verbs are?
A phrasal verb. A phrasal verb is a phrase that combines a verb with a preposition or adverb or both, and that functions as a verb whose meaning is different from the combined meanings of individual words.
Oh wow! Thank you for that big help, Webster.
You're welcome. Bye, Miss Jem.
Did you hear that? A phrasal verb is made up of two parts, a verb and a preposition or adverb. Mostly, phrasal verbs are composed of two words, but there are times they have three words. Let us have the following as an example. Stand up, sit down. Take note that in these phrasal verbs, the adverb or preposition up and down comes directly after the verb sit. Can a phrasal verb be composed of only one word? No, a phrasal verb is always composed of two or more words. Can it have different definitions even if the first words are the same? Yes, each phrasal verb has its own meaning according to its context. There are also phrasal verbs that have meanings that are different from their original verb. For example, get over, get away with, get on with, get up to. Each means something else, so when you're learning phrasal verbs, you need to learn them in little chunks, just like you would on so many lists of verbs and other parts of speech. That is the most basic way of understanding phrasal verbs. But now, let's go deeper. Phrasal verbs are divided into several subcontexts. They can be separable or inseparable. They can be transitive or intransitive. It also has semantic categories, which means they can be grouped according to their meaning. They are literal, aspectual or semi-idiomatic, and idiomatic. But do not worry, because we will all be tackling all of those things today. For separable phrasal verbs, the object may come after the following phrasal verbs, or it may separate the two parts. Sometimes the preposition or adverb is placed after the object. For example, put your books away. We can also say, put away your books. Let's have more examples. Call off, which means cancel. For example, they called off my appointment. It can also be, they called my appointment off. Hang up, which means put something on hook or receiver. For example, please hang up the phone. It can also be, please hang the phone up. And there are so many phrasal verbs that can be separable by an object, unless we are using a pronoun for our object. For example, let us use the pronoun them in place of the books. We say, put them away. We cannot say, put away them. Another example, let's go back to our previous sentences. They called off my appointment. Let us use it in place of appointment. We say, they called it off. The same rule also applies with hang the phone up. It can be hang that up. Remember, if using a pronoun as the object of a phrasal verb, it must go between the verb and preposition or adverb. There are also phrasal verbs that cannot be separable, which we can call inseparable. But like irregular verbs, it doesn't really have a definite rule. Here are some examples. Call on, which means ask to recite in class. Some phrasal verbs are intransitive, which means they are not followed by an object. And some are transitive. Phrasal verbs that follow an object, like what we have just learned a while ago. Once again, these transitive phrasal verbs can be separable or inseparable. The largest category of phrasal verbs is transitive separable verbs. Now this time, let's tackle the semantics of phrasal verbs. The meaning of some phrasal verbs is more obvious. They are called literal. Stand together with up means to stand up. Put together with away means put away. But many phrasal verbs are not literal. They're figurative. The meaning of a phrasal verb can often be something completely different from the base verb. This means that phrasal verbs need to be memorized individually. Take this phrasal verb, make up. The verb make means to build or form something. You could make a pizza. But used in the phrasal verb make up, the meaning is completely different. Make up refers to people forgiving each other. For example, I wanted to make up with my friends after our fight. Here is another phrasal verb. Look up. It can be used literally. He looked up in the sky. But the same phrasal verb can be used to mean to search for information in a book or database. He looked up the word in his dictionary. These phrasal verbs are called aspectual or semi-idiomatic. They can be sometimes literal or figurative. When you come across a phrasal verb you don't know, Try looking for clues in the sentence to help you work out what it might mean. You might be surprised how often you can work them out. So that's it for today. I hope you found an English gem from today's lesson. Continue to dig deep and don't forget to share your little gems. But as I always say, remember that language is dynamic. And when things are dynamic, there's a lot going on. It changes as time passes by. So, when you're not sure, try developing a habit of asking Mr. Google or Miss Webster. See you again in our English class. Bye!